Not necessarily.
It will not necessarily be progress for India if she simply imports the unhappiness of the West.
Driver.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily that fishing, yeah.
Not necessarily.
I suppose you're going to be Arabella.
Well, not necessarily.
In that case...
Besides, just because I wear expensive clothes does not necessarily mean they're paid for.
It's not the end. Not necessarily.
I'll get killed.
Not necessarily.
John and I had this concept for a group, not necessarily called the X, but we had this concept for a group and what we wanted to do.
Not necessarily, John.
You're told to investigate them, not necessarily to detain them.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily the way they happened.
Is it possible you just saw two guys in a green convertible and not necessarily these two particular guys?
No, not necessarily, no.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
How did he get it?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.